John F. Kennedy once said, "A nation reveals itself not only by the men it produces, but also by the men it honors, the men it remembers." Today, we take a moment to honor and remember the incredible life and legacy of Senator Walter G. Skip Campbell, Jr. Skip Campbell was born in Rockaway Beach, New York in 1948. Coming from humble roots as the son of an Irish bartender and homemaker, Skip moved to Florida in 1961. Several years later, he attended St. John Vianney College Seminary, receiving his associate degree. His experience at the seminary strengthened and solidified his respect and passion for religion and service to those in need. He then attended the University of Florida. While in college, Skip met Lynn Satin, the love of his life. The two married in 1970 while Skip was still in school. The future senator and mayor worked his way through college and law school at construction sites and an Arby's restaurant to finance his law school education. During this time, he and Lynn lived in low-income housing and survived on food stamps. After law school, Skip joined a well-known Miami defense firm where he practiced for a short period of time before realizing that his heart was truly on the side of the victim. At the same time, John E. Krupnick, who had recently opened his own law firm dedicated to trial advocacy on behalf of plaintiffs, was looking to hire his first associate. Skip's name soon made its way to John. In February of 1974, the Krupnicks hosted the Campbells for their first meeting in Fort Lauderdale. None of them knew at the time that this meeting would lead to a partnership that would go on to radically change Florida's legal and political landscape. On March 23, 1974, John Krupnick hired Skip as his associate for $12,000 a year. Within weeks, Skip took a slip and fall case to trial and obtained a $180,000 jury verdict. The judge and the court staff had never seen anything like it. John would go on to compare hiring Skip to going to a horse auction and buying Secretariat for $12,000. Months later, in 1975, Skip became partner and the firm name was officially changed to Krupnick and Campbell, a partnership which would soon set the standard for plaintiffs' trial advocacy for decades to come. Skip went on to become one of the most prolific trial attorneys in the state of Florida. Many times he tried over 50 cases per year and is believed to have tried more personal injury cases than any attorney in Florida. A champion of the underdog, his proudest moments were in the courtroom, representing the proverbial little guy against some of the world's largest insurance companies and corporate defendants. Skip went on to prevail in landmark lawsuits against DuPont Company over crop damage caused by its benlate fungicide, groundbreaking medical malpractice and right-to-die cases, and products liability cases that forced automakers to make design changes in cars and trucks which keep us all safe today. In 1996, Skip Campbell ran for state senate and handily won the general election, capturing over 67% of the vote. Senator Campbell would go on to easily win re-election twice and only left the Senate upon the expiration of his term limits in 2006 after 10 dedicated and proud years of service. Senator Skip was a fierce advocate for the rights of children, the elderly, and victims of crime. Campbell sponsored and supported hundreds of bills, many of which were enacted into law, including the topics of crime prevention, education, consumer rights and safety, and the protection of the quality of health care. Incredibly, Senator Campbell served as chairman of 3 committees despite the Republican dominance of the legislature throughout his entire time in office, demonstrating his incredible and unique ability to reach across the aisle and work together with his Republican colleagues for the good of all Floridians. In 2006, the Democratic Party asked Skip to run for Florida Attorney General. He received nearly 2.2 million votes in a narrow loss. During this statewide race, Skip relished the opportunity to meet with hundreds of thousands of Floridians across the state, and the experience made him even more dedicated to doing anything and everything to help other Floridians. Senator Campbell was also a licensed helicopter and fixed-wing pilot and a member of the Lawyers Pilots Bar Association. On May 19, 2011, the plane he was piloting suffered a serious mechanical problem which prevented the landing gear from deploying. Skip successfully belly-landed the plane at Fort Lauderdale Executive Airport and has been used as a training example for pilots in emergency situations. Skip reflected on that harrowing experience.
You don't take things for granted anymore. And every day of your life is special. So live it that way. And I intend to live it that way. I'm a very lucky guy, and I thank God for him being my co-pilot.
In 2014, Skip ran for mayor of Coral Springs and won by a 2-1 margin. He quickly became the most beloved and respected mayor the town had ever known. During his time as mayor, he fought tirelessly for the rights of the city's civil servants, especially its police officers and firefighters. During Skip's 45 years of practicing law, the humble kid from Rockaway Beach racked up hundreds of awards and accolades. Skip was one of the longest-serving members of the Florida Bar's Board of Governors. He also served as president of the Broward County Bar Association, president of the Broward County Trial Lawyers Association, and president of the Federal Bar Association of Broward County. Skip was a founding fellow and member of the Board of Governors of the Southern Trial Lawyers, a diplomat of the Academy of Florida Trial Lawyers, a sustaining member of the Association of Trial Lawyers of America, a founding sponsor of the Civil Justice Foundation, a founding member of the Trial Lawyers for Public Justice, and a member of the Florida Bar's Grievance Committee. After the horrific shootings in Parkland, Mayor Skip Campbell stood up and stood out in his fight against assault weapons. Facing daunting political and financial threats from the NRA and others, Skip stepped up and fearlessly sought common sense protections against assault weapons and for the protection and safety of our children in our schools.
But the city of Coral Springs is not doing anything individually. This is being done by a number of mayors as individual citizens of the state of Florida and the United States of America. Our kids need to be protected.
Skip continued his fight for the safety of our children and our communities up until the day of his passing. While Skip is no longer with us, his legacy will live on in all of those who've had the honor and privilege of knowing him. Skip dedicated his life to doing what was right, even in the face of adversity and apparently insurmountable challenges. It is the sincere hope of his family, his law firm, his colleagues and friends that his efforts will be carried on by each and every one who hears this message to continue Skip's tireless work of making this world a better place.